You're listening to Self-Leadership with Dr. Bensmann, the podcast for entrepreneurial minds. How ready is your team for the next wave of change, AI, new regulations, shifting markets? When priorities collide, do you know which skills you should focus on first? Where are you and your team already strong, and where could you use an upgrade? Welcome to a new episode of Self-Leadership with Dr. Bensmann, where we explore how mastering self-leadership helps you thrive in all areas of your life. I'm Burkhard Bensmann, a consultant, executive coach, and professor. I work with entrepreneurial people in Germany and abroad, mostly in demanding transition situations. Today, I invite you to sharpen your own future skills. When I say future skills, I don't mean buzzwords. I mean core abilities you need now and tomorrow. Very practical tools you can use in real change situations. In this episode, I'll walk you through 6 selected fields, 6 future skills that leaders need to master. I'll explain what each field is, why it matters, and how you can start with small, concrete steps right away. How did I choose those skills? As a consultant and executive coach, I regularly ask myself, given changing conditions, which abilities really matter? And do we need new skills, or are we simply renaming old ones? Many so-called future skills were already essential in the past. They just become more visible when pressure rises. For this episode, I looked at recent studies from McKinsey, Deloitte, MIT, and the Institute for the Future, among others, and then compared them with what I see every week when I'm coaching leaders and teams. I've also been working on self-leadership as a core topic, as you know, for many years, and I'm pleased that its importance is now widely recognized. The 6 fields I'll share show up again and again in research and in practice. They connect individual capability, team performance, and the ability to shape change actively rather than just react to it. So let's start with the first field, self-leadership. What is it? Self-leadership, as you know, is a foundation. It is a set of attitudes and methods you use to lead yourself in a goal-oriented way. In concrete terms, it means you deliberately steer what you do, why you do it, and how you manage your energy while doing it. Instead of only reacting to your calendar, to emails and other people's expectations, you make active decisions. What is truly important today? Where do I say yes and where do I say no? If your inner direction is unclear, even the best tools and methods won't help you much. In my perspective, 3 aspects are central here. Mission and vision. If you know what you are working for yourself and for your team, you stay capable of action, even in turbulent times. Your personal mission acts as a compass. Self-organization. You set priorities, you manage your attention and energy, especially when too many tasks and expectations hit you all at once. Ethics and responsible decisions. You act according to your principles, even when the easy way looks tempting. This is how you create trust in yourself and in your team. Why does it matter? Everything else builds on this field, on self-leadership. When you are clear about your purpose and you manage yourself well, you are more resilient and you upgrade all other skills faster. Some small moves for this week. Write your 1, 2, 3 sentence personal mission. If you already have one, bring it back in front of you. Underneath, note down 2 principles you will not compromise on. Walk 2 real breaks every day, away from screens. Protect your sleep as a non-negotiable asset. Before a tough choice, pause and ask, does this fit my main values and my mission? If not, rethink. And one reflection question. When was the last time you consciously paused and checked a decision against your values? And what guided you? Think about it. Skill number 2, cognitive intelligence and complex problem solving. What is it? In an age of uncertainty, the ability to recognize complex problems and work through them systematically is crucial, as you know. You may recognize complex problems by several signs. Many factors interact, cause and effect are not immediately clear, and the environment changes while you are still thinking. In these situations, intuition alone is not enough. You need thinking tools. Some key systems include systems thinking and strategic overview, seeing patterns and connections, for example, by using simple cause and effect maps or doing scenario planning with your team. Critical and creative problem solving. Instead of jumping straight to solutions, you first form hypotheses, gather data, and test ideas in small, low-risk ways. Decision quality. One powerful method from the Anglo-Saxon world is the pre-mortem. Before a project starts, you imagine it has failed and you jointly explore why. This helps you identify risks early and act preventively. Why does it matter, this field of cognitive intelligence and complex problem solving, which belongs together? When markets, regulations and technologies shift quickly, guessing is not enough. You need to design solutions with others. Adjust as new information appears and avoid wasting energy on rework. Small moves for this week. Run a 45-minute decision clinic or checkup for one important issue. What is the real problem? What are your options? What risks do you see? And how will you handle them? Choose an upcoming project and do a pre-failure exercise, the pre-mortem. Imagine it fails. What went wrong? Which of these causes can you influence now? Check your plan against base rates, what usually happened in similar projects in your organization or industry. And a reflection question on this skill set. For which upcoming decision is it worth asking now? What could go wrong? And what can I influence today? Field number 3, digital data and AI fluency. What is it? Digital competence has become a basic requirement, as you all know, from confident use of tools to working with artificial intelligence. This does not mean you must become a programmer. Of course not. It means you are able to organize your work with digital tools so that you save time, reduce errors, and make better decisions. It also means you realistically assess the opportunities and risks of AI. 3 pieces are important, at least 3 pieces. Digital productivity. You design your workflows to be lean and efficient, and you integrate digital tools intentionally, for example, by automating recurring tasks or structuring information flows clearly. AI and data competence. It's not enough to know about AI. What counts is how you work with these technologies, how you use data, and how you ensure your work is reproducible and repeatable. You test what a tool actually delivers and document your key prompts and insights. And a third point, technology governance. Technology must not only be useful and efficient, it must also be safe, ethical, and compliant with law and regulation. Who owns which data? Who is accountable if something goes wrong? Clarify these roles early. Why does it matter, this field, this skill set? New tools appear every month. Every day, more or less. Being digitally fluent means you can select what really fits, collaborate with AI instead of fighting it, explain your process, and keep your work and your team compliant. Some small moves for this week. Choose 3 key workflows and test one new digital or AI-assisted tool in each. Keep a simple log. When you tried, which prompts or steps you used, what results you got, and what you learned. For any major decision that uses digital or AI support, and it's hard to say what's the difference nowadays, keep a short decision record. What you did, why you did it, and what data you based it on. Decision record. Before rolling out new tech, run a quick check. What is the purpose exactly? Which risks do we see? Who's responsible for data and ethics? And a reflection question: which digital or AI tool could you deliberately test this week? And what do you need to discuss in your team about data protection and ethics? Skill set 4, collaboration and communication, which belongs together. What is it? Collaboration and communication are the heart of effective leadership. That's clear. In times of decentralization and diversity, depth matters. As a leader, you need to share information in a way that others truly understand what's at stake and what they can contribute across locations, hierarchies, and cultures. Good collaboration shows up when conflicts are discussable and manageable, when decisions are transparent and people feel safe enough to voice their views openly. Of course, you know, this is closely linked to what we call psychological safety. Some key elements in this field: empathic dialogue, clear, direct language, real listening, and using simple stories to make complex topics understandable and build connection. Conflict resolution and safe spaces, making conflicts visible, working through them actively, and treating mistakes as learning opportunities rather than situations for the blame game. Cooperation and inclusion, turning difference into a strength, for example by regular peer feedback rounds or inviting different perspectives explicitly in meetings. Why does it matter? Open, honest conversations keep teams moving. When everyone is included and feels safe, you get better ideas, you get faster learning and stronger buy-in for decisions. Small moves for this week. Try a 20-minute learning round. In your next team meeting, ask each person to share one mistake, one win, and one request. Redesign one recurring meeting, define a clear purpose, assign roles, for example, facilitator, timekeeper, note-taker, use a timer and agree how you will decide. And use a simple conflict canvas. For a tension in the team, map positions, underlying interests, options, and then choose a way forward together. And a reflection question: in which meeting tomorrow could you deliberately make space for more diverse opinions? And how will you handle conflict constructively? Skill set number 4, learning agility and adaptability. What is it? Learning agility is more than attending training courses, for example. It's the ability to continuously turn new experiences into insights and then adapt your behavior accordingly. And adaptability means you don't cling rigidly to routines you once established. You're willing to change your approach when conditions change or when better ways become visible. At least 2 aspects are central. Learning rhythm. You tackle new topics deliberately. You document your learning process and progress and encourage self-directed experimentation instead of relying on accidental knowledge. And willingness to change. You question routines, you create opportunities for meta-learning and bring new skills into practice as quickly as possible. For example, by asking after each project, what do we keep? What do we drop? What will we test differently next time? Why does it matter? Your value rises when you can learn quickly and adapt to whatever comes. That's true for individuals, teams, and whole organizations. So, learning agility and adaptability. Small moves for this week. Define a 30-day experiment. What will you test? How will you measure success? When will you stop? And how will you capture your learning? Hold a short weekly learning stand-up. Each person shares what they tried, what they learned, and what they will do differently. And pair up with a colleague and practice a new skill together for 2 short sprints. Then review what changed. And a reflection question: what small experiment could you start this week to strengthen your own learning ability or your team's? And number 6, entrepreneurial execution and opportunity creation, which again belongs together. What is it? Success happens when good ideas are consistently turned into action and when teams consciously focus on opportunities. This field is about moving from thinking to doing in an entrepreneurial way. Not every idea becomes a big project, but good ideas get a fair chance to be tested. Entrepreneurial execution means you move into purposeful action, you manage risks consciously, and you learn from setbacks instead of getting stuck in endless discussions. At least 2 components. Entrepreneurial mindset. You systematically look for opportunities, you test promising ones and evaluate them quickly. You're not just managing problems, you are scanning for leverage points where small moves create noticeable impact. And project execution. You prioritize tasks. You manage time consistently and use sprints to deliver results quickly. This also includes the courage to stop or postpone initiatives so that truly important work can be done properly. Why does it matter? Trying new things is good, but only if you can also deliver. Opportunity without execution is just talk. Execution without fresh ideas means you risk falling behind. And for that reason, entrepreneurial execution and opportunity creation as a skill set. Small moves for this week. Start a short venture sprint. Talk to a handful of users or clients, build a simple prototype, and then get 10 pieces of targeted feedback from them. Limit how many projects are in progress at the same time, and introduce a short weekly review to discuss wins, blockers, and decisions. Prioritize tasks by impact and effort. Force yourself and your team to finish key items before starting new ones. And a reflection question: How often do you actually translate new impulses into practice? Which idea could you test as a small prototype in the next 2 weeks? Yeah, let's wrap it all up and put it together. How to get started with these six fields that are self-leadership, cognitive intelligence and complex problem service, digital data and AI fluency, collaboration and communication, learning agility and adaptability, entrepreneurial execution and opportunity creation. I'd say use them as a simple weekly checklist for your own development and for your team. Print it out, hang it onto the wall. You can also integrate a check of your future skills into your annual personal planning day. You remember that I had an episode on that, your own yearly strategy retreat with yourself. And some reflection prompts. As you think about these 6 fields, consider 3 short questions. Where is your biggest bottleneck right now? Or what is the smallest experiment you can run this week to ease that bottleneck? And number 3, which meeting, workflow, or decision will you redesign tomorrow? Yeah, future skills are not a fashion. Of course not. They are everyday abilities you and your team can build step by step. Start with self-leadership. Make more conscious decisions. Establish rituals of reflection. This was today's episode of Self-Leadership with Dr. Bensmann. If you found this useful, share it with someone who leads a team. And before you move on, write down 1 small step you will actually take this week to strengthen your future skills. Thanks, and talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you for joining me on Self-Leadership with Dr. Bensmann. Until next time, stay committed to leading yourself with purpose.